All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Mimosa Hotline. This is our talk show where we join you every week with our top of mind topics. I am joined with Ronnie Bartless, our business strategist. I am Ashley Rhoda, your brand strategist. And this week we've got, as always, hot topics ready for you. So first thing I want to mention is we are live or on the replay. Please know that we love when you comment on these videos, you engage with us, you ask questions. Reach out to us in any capacity. It really helps us. We have a topic today that we actually postponed for when our third bestie is back, Leilani, to bring her in on that topic. So realize that we plan these out for you and want to make them amazing. But today we're going to dive into a topic that we have been kind of touching on, but didn't really give it its time. So today we're going to talk about perfection and PR to begin things. So I think this came about, Ronnie, help me fill in the blanks on all of this, but I think it came about from, I was kind of in a perfectionism of something. And then we were talking about your amazing PR efforts right now. That's kind of how I remember it.
Yeah, I think we were talking about, it was like time before last. And
yeah.
What were we were talking about course development and stuff, and perfectionism came into that because
that's what that was. Yeah.
I think it was one of those. We were talking about course development and it never being enough, or we trying to pack it full of stuff, and then perfectionism,
and that there's a right way of doing things. I think right. Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah. And I mean, I'm in that too still, as it took a little longer to get the pages back and things, the perfectionism. And it's just, I don't know about you. I'm just I feel like I'm in a little bubble though right now of I'm ready to just punch through the glass and get out of it. I have been in a year-long program. We're now in this amazing program. I'm in course development. I'm doing all of these things. And the people that are standing out to me the most right now are the ones that are saying yeah, we've all heard that it should be done like this. And if those of you that have heard it or haven't heard it, basically it's the concept of a freebie that leads to a free masterclass, that leads to a webinar, that leads to a, generally a week-long course that then goes to a mastermind that then goes to a low, medium, high barrier to entry. I mean, did I get it? The shit funnel. Oh my God.
A nice little dick funnel right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's yeah, we need a funnel, but pick one and then use it. I find, at least right now, here's my self-reflection is I'm hiring everyone to tell me all these different funnels, and your funnel is slightly more dickish than the next one. And then that one's short and I don't like short. So here we go. And it's this whole thing. And then I just was what the fuck do I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
How do I want to run this business? What do I want to produce? What do I want to experience with my people? And I'm oh my God, I just want earmuffs. Now it's shit.
Well, and for people like us, for you and I, when we've talked about this many times, we are our companies. This is our lives. This is our life work. This is what we were put on this earth to do. Those kinds of things. So then you get all of these voices in your head about how they did it, and it's this formula and that formula, and this is what works and this is what does it. And then your perfectionism kicks in because this is our life's work. And so then it's, oh, I have to do this and I have to do all the things, and it's never good enough, and I got to pack it full of shit. And when really
and but they did it that way and I want their results. And so it's right. Almost this weird, there's so many dick references, so let's go with it, cock blocking system that is just oh my God, I don't know. And then yesterday was such a good day for me, but it was I felt yesterday was the me of, I'm embarrassed to say this, but 8 years ago, I was on a call, okay, so my day was just really relaxed. It was very creative. I was working on my newsletter of things. Hey, viewers, say hi. We have 2 of you. Hello, hello. Say hi in the comments. I see some hearts and likes, so thank you for that. They like our cock blocking dick conversation about programs and perfectionism. So yay. Now we just need maybe we should say pecker, because we were PR and perfectionism peckers. Let's just get it all out there, right? You're welcome, everyone.
This escalated quickly.
I know, but hey, I'm not afraid of these things. So, yeah. And I was on a call. So it was a call with somebody that I had been matched with, like, hey, friendly introduction. The two of you need to meet. They're loving what we're saying. So I just got a bunch of giggles and a bunch of hearts. So peckers it is, ladies and gentlemen. And we talk about it all the time. Connections and conversations. So here I am. I was introduced to a brilliant videographer, to be honest, and I made his connection to another PR specialist that I knew. And it was just like, that's how business happens. Mm-hmm. And I haven't been doing that type of networking for a while. Like, it's been a lot more of the social media hustle and hustle culture and trying to adopt a new strategy every month because of the program I'm in. Now, I want to give a side note. I love this program. It's absolutely amazing, but you catch me day to day. Some days I love it. Some days I hate it. And that's truthfully a good program. Like, I'm not just drinking Kool-Aid in this shit. Like, I have opinions about it. So today I'm kind of like, but it's like, yeah, we just get so tied up in it. And I'm just, this week, my perfectionism was like, stop. No more. Don't listen to anybody else. Start acting from your place of knowing. You've been doing this for almost 10 years now. You tell everybody else amazing advice. Why not just do what you freaking say to everybody else and like, mind blown, and give yourself permission that it's not going to look like how theirs looked. And maybe, God forbid, you find an easier way because it's your way.
I mean, I think we all go through this. Like, I would love to say I'm a recovering perfectionist, but I'm not.
And
like, I'm going to own it. I'm not.
Thank you. See, the ownership of that. See, okay. So there's a new TV show out called, Designing Miami, I believe. And it's this beautiful couple. They're in Miami. They're interior designers. They're kind of competition / not competition, whatever. And the female part of the couple is, which I don't know why I said it like that, but the girl, whatever, the girl of this, she is a perfectionist and her whole team knows it. And they just kind of set it as a high standard because that's what's the design is required in interior design to be perfect and all of the ways. And I was like, why did she get to be a perfectionist, but I
don't? Well, I think that there's like, we want to do good work, but I think perfectionism is a false sense of self that we put on our, like, I define perfectionism to me, right? Like what is perfect for you and what is perfect for me, because we're going to have two different opinions on that, right? It's kind of like your definition of success. Like, it's the same kind of concept of like, everybody's definition of success for themselves is different, but I think perfectionism is too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on all things, I had that literally, it's funny you use the exact words because I had that earlier this week with a client who we were going through her 70-30, which is how we build out the brand. 70% is on that ultimate vision. 30% is on how you're doing it today. And part of it was success. She was like, well, that's what success is. And I had her define it. And it was really amazing. She breaks it down into two elements, success and stretch success. And I was like, oh my God, I've heard this in goals, but not in success. And that's her DNA. And I was like, oh, I love this. So we're definitely going to leverage that into the brand and, having those benchmarks. But it's true. Everybody, we all can draw a cat, but we're all going to draw the cat in a different way. Right. Like, yeah, absolutely. And with perfectionism, I think we were also, because I remember this part, hold on, it's like coming together for me. Like, we were talking about like having an established definition of perfectionism because it was like easier to know if we were on track or not. Do you remember me talking about this? It's all kind of coming back together now, but it was like, I was saying something like, I like to have a defined success or a defined perfect, because then I know if I'm hitting it or not. And we were saying like, some people don't like having that because that's setting you up to fail. But I was like, no, if I know, like, and it was that's what it was. It was kind of reminding me of swimming. There is a perfect stroke. There is a perfect way of doing things. And we get scored on that in gymnasts. They get scored on it. We get like coached on it, and it determines the results, like the better that we are. And I think that's where my perfection comes from being coached up. Literally, I was on a competitive team when I was 8. No, actually 6 6. So I've been doing this my whole life, but I like to have a standard of perfection, because then I know like where I'm at. I don't want to just be a guppy on the team. Like, I want to win.
I mean, I think we all do, but it's just, this is where I see it coming in, because I'm working with my business partner on like online courses right now, and like taking trainings, from a in-person kind of session into a virtual session. And I find I am really just the back end, like figuring out the logistics of how this all works. So like you just do things, right? It's just very task oriented. And he is in the creative side of the content creation of it. And so we tend to battle on things a bit, because he is a perfectionist as well. Granted, I can only see this because I also am one too. And he keeps pushing back deadlines on creating this content because it's not perfect. And I'm like, and I keep saying to him, like, your like half-assed effort to this is better than somebody else's full-assed effort to it.
I love this. We have like so many body parts. We're gonna need to like censor this, like at the top, like asses are out, peckers are here. Hello. I love that. No, but it's true. And we talk about that too. Like our output is a lot higher than the average person.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. I think that's where the perfectionism comes in. And then it stalls us, right? Like, so he's stalling himself because he's trying to make it perfect and jam it full of stuff that doesn't even really need to be there. Like, it's not even part of this. And so it's one of those things that I keep looking at him going, done is better than perfect.
And he's blessed to have you to like ring him in. What's that? How do you say that?
Rain.
I was like,
Raining man. Yeah.
Rein him in. This is what you get when there's 2 blondes in a room. I don't know. She knows half of the things I don't know, and I know the other half. We're exactly. Good. But yeah, when you rein them in like that, that's so helpful. And what I'm finding now is I didn't realize I had this catch too, where I'm so afraid to put something out there where it's like half baked, even though I do love half baked cookies, half baked, and then know that the whole purpose of having it is to put it out there so that you get real time experience on it to refine it. Because even if you made it the best that you like, perfect, and then put it out there, it's still not going to necessarily be how the market needed it. So it's better to just kind of get it out there. And I learned that again in this course that I'm like bitching about, but I learned that recently that, her whole success was not that she did it perfect the first time, was that she's done it 12 times and baby refinements, baby tweaks, baby this. And I know that to be true because I do that, but not intentionally. Like, I do that with all my clients at the end of any, like, especially brand design clients. At the end of every project, I go back and I look at like the structure of the brand binder. Did it still flow as amazing as it always did? Nope. This time it's better here. Then the next time it's like looking at a big one I'm looking at right now is having people do discovery as like they pre-work, like they fill it in and then we review it versus doing it in person. Someone told me it was better to be done as pre-work, but I kind of like it the way I was freaking doing it. So I don't know that I'm going to listen to that. But that's how we do this, like see and refine and see what works. And yeah, the perfectionism, it gets you.
Yeah. Well, and it's discernment too. Like, we have all of these coaches and all of these people out there, like we're bombarded with all of this stuff every day with a dick funnel, like every 30 seconds for sure. And you have to, they're shiny and sparkly and like they play on your pain points. Like you're like, were you spying on me in my office like 5 minutes ago? Like, and it's so like, I mean, that's somebody that's actually really done their homework on their target audience for sure. Like when you go, is there a camera in my computer? And you just like saw into my brain and saw those thoughts, that's somebody who's really done their research and knows what they're doing. Yeah. But, we see all of these programs and we're like, yeah, I have that problem. And so now we've got 14 different voices in our ear and it's hard for us to go, well, I have to do this thing and I have to do this. And now we're doing all of the things and now we don't know what we're doing.
Oh yeah. Like I straight up am looking at my programs and it's so funny because my intent, I don't know, my intention never changed with them, but like the should changed. So the should started as like a 90-day, well, actually, you know this, it started as a year-long program that then we were like, nah, let's do it in 90 days. And then it was a challenge base, and you and I were both sick of it. I kept getting feedback that we're sick of challenges. So why did I build a challenge? And then when I'm catching myself, like yesterday, I wish I had recorded it. It was so good. I was telling this gentleman about the programs. It is nothing of what the copy is that I have. I was like, shit, like the whole thing, right now it is positioned as like a 90-day challenge with actions and results and whatever the fuck, because that's what I should have and I should be marketing it. But when I pitched it to for sure, he's over $1 million company, I know for a fact, because he dropped just casually. He's like, well, we just had a project in India. And then he goes, and we just, this one client that we have, we do 250K or like $250,000. That's how he said, which I caught myself. I was like, oh, we talking millions now. Okay, cool. He's like $250,000 client. And I was like, oh, hello, like now I know who I'm talking to, like my ears perk up slightly. And, I just told him, I said, you know how lost we get in business sometimes, like project after project, you're working for everybody else, you're behind the scenes on everybody else's business. And it's like, we've got two things that we need to do. We need to, have how do I want to say this? Have a sense of authority and control over what we do and own our knowledge. And then we also need to maintain our identity in all of this, because yes, you have to be an authority doing all of it, but who are you behind all of that? Which, oh my God, have we heard that recently of that whole, but it's like that whole thing. And I caught myself and I was like, that is not the wording that I'm about to shove out the door. Like, so I'm so glad that the pages for my team, they've been very backed up recently, which is fabulous. It was almost divine that they didn't get immediately produced, and it took time to wait for me to get this clarity.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's just, I think these kinds of things are so interesting, because we talk about this a lot in Shauna's program, discernment and kind of like figuring out your own way. And I think you and I both were very attracted to her from the beginning because she didn't do things like everybody else told you to do them. So I think it's, while I think people are, and I don't want people to get the wrong impression that people are giving shit advice, because they're not. People are giving great programs and great, I mean, there are some, don't get me wrong.
Did you see me like discernment? I was like, is it shit advice? Is it not shit advice? What percentage?
I mean, if you really think, obviously they had success in something, hence why they're why they're doing it. So it's not like it's bad advice. It might not be right for you, but it's not bad advice. Like, people have great ideas and great strategies, and there's a lot of things out there that are cool. There are times I see people talk about strategies and I'm like, that's innovative and interesting. Like, I remember it, and then I go, okay, how could I modify that for myself? Like, how would that work for me? Or how would that work for one of my clients? Right. But it's kind of discerning that, because there are so many voices and they all are right in their own way, but we have to really figure out how they're right for us.
100%. I feel like it comes down to two things. There's kind of seasons and reasons. Sometimes you need the strategies and the tactics and the tools, and sometimes you need to go solo and like, I'm going to say it, free ball it. Anywho, the reason I say that is because that's actually a water polo term, but I know many people think of that as something else. It's a water polo term where there's a free ball, meaning it's not on either team and you both chase for it. And then whoever gets it, it's like you take possession back and then it's your ball. But we're still we're going for it. I don't even care. So there's seasons and reasons, but then there's also like what's on brand for you, like what strategies, like right now with the NLA program, Next Level Authority, Shamika Tankerson, shout out to her. That one, what I loved was it was so based on organic marketing. And yes, sometimes I'm just annoyed because I'm still tacticking all day long and all, but I love what I'm doing. I just need to do it in a more free way than kind of like my problem is I'm in a student mind where there's a should and a right way to do it. And I'm learning it versus when I'll be able to adapt and adopt it to my way of doing it that I'll really enjoy it. So there is an evolution. We have to learn it to then refine it to be our way. But then the other element is, is that on brand for you? Some brands, it makes sense to have a, no contact dick funnel up front, just get the sale, do the thing.
Yep.
And other ones, this videographer, I got to shout him out. He's so good. His name's Ivan, and he has, I Am One Productions. And I think I said that. No, IG1. Sorry, I totally messed that up. I'm sorry, Ivan. It's IG1 Productions. And he does this incredible RFP video. It's like a know, like, and trust video. And they're short that go along with the proposals, but they're very personable. And I was like, I want one. So I told him the second I get to Chicago, because, I have new hair. I'm not the same woman. I'm not going to be in the same city. I don't want to record it in Portland when I'm not going to, So I got all excited about this thing, but it's like finding those tactics that you realize, oh, that's so me. Oh, that's not for me. Oh, that works for me. And like knowing the experience, and it's twofold. And I think people get this wrong all the time, and it drives me nuts. It is not just about converting clients and sales. It's not. It's about you. How do you want to run the business? Because you're the one experiencing it. You're the one that's going to be taking the calls, doing the meeting, hosting the course, doing whatever. But then also, so that's out. In, how do you want to facilitate an experience for your customer? What do you want them to experience? Like it's kind of two-sided, if you will. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that this is kind of one of those topics too, that social media falls into this so easily, right? Of the shoulds of, it's a free platform and everybody's having success on it, and I should be doing this. And this is the social media specifically right now is very hot in this kind of shoulding as far as like marketing and kind of talking to people. But in reality, the people that are really having success at it are kind of the outliers, right? Like it's not the norm. And so I think this is a good transition into kind of like talking about marketing and taking specifically marketing, right? Like you kind of know your experience as far as, your product and how you want your client to experience you and the deliverable that they get, right? Like that is always going to be refined, but you sort of have like a nice base as to what that's going to look like. But marketing, you know what you're doing, right? Like, well, I would hope so, but
well, let's clarify. After year one, you know what you're doing. Year one, you don't have a clue. You're just like,
yeah. Well, kind of the nice thing about years 1 through 3 is you don't know what you don't know. So you actually are more successful sometimes in those years because you just don't know.
And you just put shit out. You're not overthinking it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
But marketing then kind of like us marketing ourselves kind of comes into this mix, and we have all of these things as far as like social media and, making connections like you do, and like all of these things that we can be doing, right?
All
like
the lead gen, social media, newsletters, podcasts.
Right. And particularly, particularly for service people like you and me, I find this to really be difficult. Everybody's like, I want to do social media. It's free. And people are making millions of dollars on it. Yes, they are. They're outliers. 100%. And not that they don't have good tactics. They do. Like I saw somebody that used to use their close friends list on Instagram brilliantly. And I was like, that's a really smart way to use that strategy. Didn't work for shit for me. Right? Like, because it's not me, right? Like for me, my main marketing is nothing but podcast interviews and PR. Like, I'm not even like you. I don't even go out and network with people and make connections. Like
well, you're an introvert. It's okay.
Well, don't get me wrong. I do talk to people. I'm
just saying, but again, that's discernment that's not your like preference.
Yeah. And so like social media is great. And I kind of need a presence there. So I post every now and again and, put some smart stuff up, but
sorry, that was so good. Continue. I'm sorry. Yes.
But of everything that I have done for myself with marketing stuff, because trust me, I've tried it all. Because I think we all have. I've tried it all. I've tried Facebook, I've tried Instagram, I've run ads. I do it for my clients, but I've also tried them all for me. Like I've tried every tactic or thing you want to talk about. The one thing that works for me every single time is when I have a podcast interview. Every time I have a podcast drop, I at least get one lead.
Nice.
And I specifically podcast interviews or summits or speaking engagements. Generally, when I get like an interview that's like written magazine kind of based, those don't produce as well. But if somebody sits and listen, if they hear me and they sit and listen to a podcast or see me do a speaking engagement of some sort, I can guarantee I'm going to get at least one lead. And generally they turn into a client. I mean, by that point, they're such a hot lead. They're just already like coming to my world to work with me, period.
Yeah.
So like my marketing in the last year has very much been pitching podcasts, pitching on different podcasts or speaking events to get me speaking gigs, because that's where it comes from for me. And so I think that's where I finally figured that out. And I'm 15 years into business and just this year kind of figured that out.
Yeah.
So
you have to try it all to then decide what you like. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think, and what works for me might not work
for someone else. Absolutely.
Right. Might not work for somebody else, I've got success stories all over the place.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's the whole thing, is be willing to try things and like see what the outcome is, and not have your whole business banked on that one strategy working. Like see what your trifecta is. I know in LA, they teach us you have to have 3 lead gen strategies. Social media only counts as 1. So for me, I do social media, I have my newsletter, and then I work on referrals, because for myself, speaking, I don't know. I remember I don't think I've spoken on branding. I remember speaking as an image consultant back in the day, but then with all the world and all the things, I didn't really dive into it. Because again, that was something I didn't fully enjoy. I felt, at least in my experiences with the approaches I took. Now, this was years ago. It was at that time, it was very much about having a signature talk or a keynote talk. And it was like pitching the same thing at every event with like, slightly different variations here, there, whatever length of time or who you were talking to, whatever. And I just didn't feel authentic doing it, because I felt like I had a script that I was selling people. And it felt I did do insurance for 2 years. It felt very that scripty kind of sales speech that converts, but it didn't feel good. Like I didn't feel like I was connecting with people. I felt like I was like hypnotizing them. And so I looked for opportunities where it was like panels to speak on that, I could speak more freely. And now I'm learning this Mimosa Hotline, all of my experiences. My creme de la creme has always been networking. And networking can be both casual and formal. So like I loved back in the day having my meetings in person at coffee shops, because people sitting next to me would often, when the client would get up and go to the bathroom, be like, I'm so sorry, but I've been listening to every word. Can I have your card? And I'm like, oh, sure. I would get people all the time that way from just overhearing me. 1, I'm loud, but 2, because like I say good shit. I say smart shit. Like you said, post smart shit. So I say smart shit. And then 2 was like going to events, just hanging out, being a personable person. Like I have a good energy, I guess I would say. So anything that bottled that or gave me an opportunity to just show my in-person essence was a big deal. So networking then more formally with like chapter events or chambers or anything like that I would do. And then now I'm enjoying the podcast. The last podcast is how we met Thomas. He was the host of the show, and then he ended up quitting and becoming my client, because literally the show he quit to become a client and start working. Whoopsie. So I was like, oh, my bad. So I'd love to do more of that too. Let's play devil's advocate and kind of stupid here. Explain PR, because I think a lot of people have this idea that first, they don't even know what PR stands for, public relations, but help us out here. So like, what does it stand for? What does it encompass? Is it different from marketing? Is it a branch of marketing? And I think for a lot of people, they feel like PR is for celebrities. They like get them they book deals for them and get them gigs, and there's like flashing lights. I think that's kind of the, what they think of.
Yeah.
But explain to us the basics and break it down.
Yeah. So it stands for public relations, and I'm going to probably get a little too in the like jargony part of this.
We like this.
I don't quite know how to say it any other way, but I actually view it as a branch of marketing as a whole. Like it works in your marketing strategy as a whole. Because I agree with you. I think you also do need multiple lead generation avenues. And PR is obviously a good one that a lot of people take. And yes, we kind of think of it as a celebrity thing to kind of do because you're getting out in front of the public. But really, from our stance, it's earned media, right? So the difference between earned media and sponsored media, you buy. Earned media is when you get a mention in an article, or you get a quote, or you get a podcast interview or a TV interview or whatever that might mean. Like you didn't pay for it. So it's earned media. And public relations earned media is like free marketing, basically. Sure, you've put in your time maybe to pitch the story or to pitch the reporter or however that might be, but you haven't paid anything for it. And consumers are very savvy in being able to spot paid media versus earned media. Because there are some paid sponsorships now that look like journalistic content and is great, but it's paid for. And I think people are really starting to notice kind of the difference between when it's bought and when it's actually just earned.
Yeah, like an example might be someone might be paid to be a speaker at an event versus someone might be an invited guest speaker.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's part of a marketing strategy as a whole. Like for me, it's kind of my main lead gen. It's the one that gets me the most, because when people hear me talk, then they're like, oh yeah, I like what you're saying. I need to work together. And then that kind of leads into, then I've got a network, and then networking becomes kind of my second. And then I just enjoy social media. Sometimes I haven't in the last month, but sometimes I it. And so then that sometimes can like be the constant that's there. But I have a really great story. So a friend in Charleston is an inventor. Her like words are hard for me today, apparently. Her name is Leslie, and she invented a product called grill charms. And so what they are is they're like little metal charms that you put in like your food and meats when you go to put them on the grill. She found a problem. She had people over one evening. Everybody got like steaks or something. And with a steak, you get it like rare, medium rare. Well, and everybody told her husband how they wanted it. And so he like threw them on there. And then when he brought him back in, she's like, which one's which? And he's like, I don't know. So she invented these little charms that you put in it that the temperature, right? And so kind of she's interesting now because she's kind of been through this whole gamut, but she went and she like invented these things and then went and kind of manufactured them out of China, did the whole business thing. And she concentrated her marketing specifically just on PR. That's all she did. She didn't buy any ads. She didn't do any social media. All she did was get earned media. She pitched her story about inventing these things and how they work. And that's how she built her whole $1 million company. It was on PR alone. One of those PR gigs being that she pitched Shark Tank and went on Shark Tank and actually got funded.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Right. So she got, and I don't remember, I can tell you what he looks like, but I'm terrible with names. So it's dark-haired guy on Shark Tank.
Mark Cuban?
No, the other one that's been there from the beginning. If you said his name, I'd be like, that's it. I can't remember. Anyhow, he backed her, and we'll Google it. But he backed her, and she actually got money, and he helped her build her company, and she built it completely all on PR, and ended up selling her company for millions of dollars, and basically now just gets mailbox money for every girl charm that sells still.
Hell yeah.
So what she did, and it's been interesting kind of like after the fact now to talk to her, she's like, it was a lot of work, like figuring it all out and then being the face of it and doing all the PR. It was a lot of work, but I had to do it to now know what I like to do, which is basically invent. And she's like, so like hindsight now, I still invent things, but then I go and license them to somebody else to let them kind of do all of this stuff. And I just take my mailbox money.
Amazing.
Because she gets
Robert
royalties.
something?
Robert. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, but I can't think of his last name. I'm getting there. I'm like, Robert something.
Nope. But yes, that's who it was. But the point of that story is she figured out that, she had a personality that PR just was the thing that worked for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she built a multi-million-dollar company on nothing but PR, got backed by a shark, and ended up selling for millions of dollars. And now she just gets money in the mailbox.
Well, I love that. I know I really want to lean into PR more, and I actually have a resource I'm excited to connect with. Stasia Crawford, shout out Stasia, in Chicago. She's also in my community right now, and she has a PR and media training company, and she helps you, get pitched into TV. She has 19 years of experience where she worked with ABC as their news producer. So she literally knows this stuff. And from like firsthand experience, not like, yeah, that sounded pretty, anyways, like really, she knows it. Sorry. But it was interesting when we first met. We have so much in common. It's kind of crazy. Like our very first businesses were both jewelry making businesses. Like that's so specific, like kind of crazy. Anyways, every time I speak to people that are kind of my ideal audience / tribe / community / people that get me, they always say, you have such a unique story. You need to tell this, you need to share this. And I have not. I've been, I don't know, not embarrassed by it, but it wasn't something I wanted to lead with, because like I studied pre-med, not marketing in school. And sometimes I felt like, oh, I won't be as credible as other people that have, say, studied this, versus how I came into it and my organic knowledge of things. And now I'm realizing that's actually my differentiating selling feature. And I'm like, oh, you get this stuff. But yeah, and knowing, so another thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is like the mediums of PR, that it's TV, it's print, it's radio, in the sense of podcast, radio, that kind of stuff. Am I missing anything in the like mediums, or like what styles does PR cover? Is that the primary ones?
Those are the primary ones, but there is a division of PR that is crisis management.
Okay. So like reputation management.
Reputation management, right? So like this happens with politicians and celebrities, obviously, quite often, but it also can happen with businesses that all of a sudden get either a lawsuit, or they get a really bad review, or
canceled online.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's part of PR, is now you have to manage that with your voice now and counteract that. And that's for me, even inside of the PR world, kind of a specialty.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're not working with the specialist, Jesus, that's dangerous.
It's one thing. Like, you and me can go out and pitch podcasts and do interviews all day long. Like, it'd be nice to have a PR person to help us with that, but you don't have to. You can find great resources to find reporters to pitch all the time. But if you do actually have a problem where you need to manage reputation, that is something I that's
like an attorney at that point. Like you need to invest in that. You need to have the best. And, it kind of segues back on what we talked about last week, which I definitely was like, with people not, when your reputation is slashed because you're not producing the work that you're promising and people are learning about it and word of mouth spreads, or, I've seen people go down online.
Cancel culture.
cancel culture or just damn stupidity, posting things that it's like, oh, you can't come back from that. Like you literally cannot come back from that. So very much needed. You mentioned something though just now. Oh, resources. Tell us, what are the resources that you use? You don't specific or generalized for your PR. Like what resource do you have? Go-tos? Do you have tools? Like, is it like social media where there's a planning platform? Like, what is this?
So I have 3 resources that I use. The first one, which is very commonly known, is called Help a Reporter Out, HARO.org.
Okay. I have to say that is not commonly known. You taught me that.
Oh, well, okay. It's the one that most people know about when they do know about
Help a Reporter Out. Okay,
Help a Reporter Out, which is haro.org. You can go sign up for a free account. You get 3 emails a day with all the reporters that are looking for pitches, right? So I don't necessarily look at all 3 every day, but generally I might look at one. If I'm really busy, I don't look at any of them, but I skim through. They have different sections, right? Like they have, politics section that's, health and wellness, politics, business, lifestyle, general section, travel, different, so that you can kind of categorize where you might fit in. So I skim through those to see, one, if I fit something or if one of my clients fits something. I don't necessarily offer PR as a service to my client,
but if you see it,
but if I'm skimming through and I see it, or if I see something for, like my friend Matt the other day, there was one, they were looking for a referral coach. And I was like, hey, I saw this on Haro, go apply. And he's like, great, thanks. So
yeah, you've sent me one. I remember
that.
Yeah,
I think I've sent, if I see something that I think somebody kind of just fits, and I know
it's like too obvious.
I mean, it's easy enough for me to send off an email. It's not a big deal, but I skim through those. And generally, like, it's one of those things where it's kind of like feast or famine. I'll go a whole month and pitch like 10 different things just because there's something going on that I can contribute to. And then I might go 3 months and not find anything.
Right.
Like it's one of those things. So Haro is kind of the first spot I go to. The second one is called Quoted, QWOTED, Quoted, not like with a W instead of a U.
Yeah.
And a lot of the same reporters pitch on both. So you kind of have to be a little discerning. That platform is free for 2 pitches every month on their free plan, or you can go pro and pay for more pitches and or early access to things. They tend to have a few more resources that are in kind of in the business world, where they like Forbes and Business Insider and the more major kind of publications tend to go to Quoted as opposed to Haro. So 6 to 1, half dozen the other. But they also send, I think, 2 or 3 emails a day. You kind of just skim through them, see what you can contribute to. And then my third one is I actually am a member of a podcast collaboration club. And so it's for both hosts and guests, and it's a directory of podcasts. And you can pitch hosts if you feel that you're a fit, or you can go and find guests. I've actually posted for us on there before to try and get guests for us. So it's just, and that is a paid membership I use, and that's very specific to podcasts. So those are kind of my top 3. There's a million of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of PR people, when they, kind of talk to you about if this is something you're going to do, those are their first spots. But then they also go, if you find a publication or a reporter that you think is a good fit for you, there's a strategy called drafting. So what this is when you see a reporter, let's take Forbes, because everybody wants to be in Forbes. A reporter at Forbes writes a story on something that kind of is in your wheelhouse, right? I'll use you as an example, is on branding. You see it and you're like, I would have been perfect for that article, right? So drafting is when then you kind of like start to make a relationship with that reporter, and then pitch him and say, hey, I saw you did an article on this. Here's a story idea in relation to it that's slightly different that I can contribute to. So you pitch him a supplemental story to when he's already done, you're drafting basically the momentum of it, right? So you kind of like pick up into the draft of the momentum of that. And, in hopes that he'll be like, oh, sure, I can pick up that story. The one thing about reporters when you're cold pitching like that is you basically want to give them the story. Right?
Do the work for them.
Do the work for them, right? That's kind of how, because they're so busy and people are pitching them all the time. Like if you have to hand them the story on the platter, that all they have to do is like basically copy edit it. I mean, that's really kind of the best way to get a cold pitch out for something like that. Most of the time though, particularly with podcast interviews, they have a Google form like we do on Airtable, a Google form or something. You go fill it out and generally you can get on their schedule.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a lot easier than you think it is.
Yeah.
It's time consuming.
Sure. But I think, that's reasonable enough to wake up in the morning, check 3 articles and then go from there. Or just start one or try it. So you get, again, it's like the charcuterie of marketing. You want to try every bit of it and see like what parts you light up with, what parts feel exhausting. Right. Some people might love the hustle and hunt for it. Yeah.
Well, and what I tend to do is every time I pitch something, I copy and paste what I pitched and I keep a swipe file. So that then the next time I go to pitch, I'd be like, oh, wait, I did something very similar over here. And I can like pull from my swipe file and just kind of rework it for whatever that specific pitch is. So like I have a couple of platforms to speak on specifically, like I speak on, marketing as a science, entrepreneurship, kind of things we talk about here. And I have like 3 or 4 different pitches for each one of those topics that then anytime I pitch, I can very easily just go pull from my swipe file, copy and paste it over.
It almost reminds me of like resume hunting or something. I used to do that. Like I remember doing that with cover letters actually. And just like, I would change, like, I would have like company name in red and then like my job title. And I would just like edit the parts that were relevant and then just send it. So I remember those.
So those first few are a little bit more time consuming because you kind of have to create from scratch. Once you kind of get through the pain of that though, like, and you have your little library of different pitches or, pitch topics, you can kind of just, swipe them for whatever you're pitching for.
I love that.
So
and also explain a swipe file. I don't know many people know that. I know we use that every day, but I'm like, swipe file, that might be a term they may not know.
It's swipe file is just like, I keep mine in Evernote.
Okay.
So I keep mine in Evernote and it's called swipe file. And it's basically a bunch of notes of things that I've written previously, whether it be an email or a pitch or marketing copy. I keep all
templates, more or less.
Of templates, like old web copy that, you never know what might come around, because I don't know about you, but for me, when I'm writing, it is much easier to write from something than a blank page. So the reason it's called a swipe file is basically you swipe it out of there and put it someplace else.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't call mine that, but I do that same practice of I have those things that
templates.
I started actually with Jason. Every time I have to send our episodes for the Mimosa Hotline, I actually saved it as a template in Google. Like, I can do that, but anyways, that's a different topic. But then also things, introduction blurbs. So like some people, I really like to make it easy for people to introduce me to, so like, hey, I need an introduction to so-and-so, feel free to use this blurb. And then I just send over my blurb so they don't have to like, be like, yeah, Ashley's great, talk to her.
Right. I do it for bios too, because it seems like every time somebody asks you for a bio, it needs to be like slightly different for something. So I probably have like 15 different bios that are all just slightly different. Some are in first, some are in first person, some are in third person, like it's totally different. And I just copy and paste them out now.
Yeah, a totally example of this I just thought of was the brand binder that we create for all of the clients. The digital version is a straight up swipe file because all of the, like you just said it, but the bios are there, everything's there. Like you just copy and paste, because I found I was taking so many classes where it was like, who's your ideal client? What are your lead generation strategies? What are your services? And I was so tired. And you know what? I had a new business every time I fucking took these classes because I was like typing it in versus write it once and swipe file it, as you say, or copy and paste or master copy, however you want to call the damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah. I mean, even old website content, like before I change my website, I pull out all of the content because you never know when it's going to come back around, or you can use that for a blog post someplace or a social media post. And then like, don't keep reinventing the wheel every time.
No, it's exhausting and
it's exhausting.
Not good for you.
Particularly for content. Like that's our biggest complaint most of the days anyway, is having to create content. So why not?
I know I'm in the mix of one right now that is working very well for me, but yeah, talking about tweaking and refining, I have a core set of posts I think are good that I want to be sharing every month, and I'm slowly refining them, you know, a different picture or different this or different words or simplifying it, yada yada.
Yeah. It's a good VA thing to do. So if you have a VA and you're looking for stuff for them to do, have them go back through all of your Instagram posts and copy and paste them out into your swipe file. So you have all your Instagram posts that you can just rework.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. That was good. That was like a mic drop one. I was like, did y'all hear that? You didn't. Go back in the replay and listen back because that was good.
And I don't know about you, but I tend to be really bad about what, particularly on Instagram, I either post in my scheduling platform and I write directly in that, or I post directly in Instagram and write directly in that. So they're all living in Instagram right now and not in my swipe file. And there's like hundreds of them.
So it'd be good to repurpose or reuse. Yeah.
Grab a VA that can go back 3 years and I can repurpose the thing I wrote 3 years ago that nobody's going to see.
Yeah, I actually, I have developed a system and I'm really loving my little system, but it's very much a swipe file. I don't know how much I want to give away, but I don't like, because I love it so much, but at the same time, like I'll give the gist of it. So I'm using Airtable, and in Airtable, the way that my community has shown me how to post, it's either based on the day or the type of post. So like Monday, you do these types, Tuesday, these types, Wednesday, this type, or we have 4 C's that we kind of go through, and they're themes of topics, if you will. And so I have like my posts for those. And so with Airtable though, I can switch between views. So if I need a certain one or whatever, it helps me. But basically, let's just use Mondays, for example. I can run you through it. So I have an introduction post, an announcement post, a mission post, methodology, and a belief post. So I have like first, second, third, fourth, fifth Monday, because sometimes you have a fifth, sometimes you don't. And I'm going to just out myself. You all just saw it yesterday. I changed my profile picture and I added the about me to it, because here's a pro tip. On your specifically Facebook, when you have the image, the profile image, it just comes up as an image. So if people are searching for you, it's just another image in the vortex. But if you add a description to it, it optimizes it and helps with SEO, search engine optimization. So you always want to have a blurb with that and your header image, the banner image at the top. So I put my whole, introduction post or bio into the picture. And what I've been doing is that's the first Monday or a character post. And so, character post. And so every time I've been doing it, I'm in Airtable and I refine it and then post it. And then it gets better response. And then I refine it and post it. And I don't rewrite that every time, because my Monday posts are pretty much the same every month. And what changes are the other posts throughout the week. So for me, that's how I'm doing it. And I'm loving it because it's really easy. Anytime I basically sit down on the last Friday of every month and I'm like, plan out the content or the focus for what I want in the next month, and I pencil it in. And then on that day, I just go to my master board. What's that day? Okay, that's this, here's that. Or it's a prompt that I use to kind of like, as you said, not writing from a blank page. And I kind of put that out. That's how I've been doing. That would be my swipe file, if you will. But it's like, yeah.
I tend to, I don't plan mine out quite that well.
I'm only doing it because of this community. And to be honest, my eyes are going to start bugging out one of these days, because I can't. When I do it though, I want to give it credit. When I do a consistent 30 days, I can tell there's a difference. Like I'm having a conversation. However, I have realized I'm a little too, what's the word? Just tight with it, like robotic with it. Yeah. And I need to kind of loosen up with it a little bit. So again, student becomes master, right? So like now that I've kind of studied this, now it's like, okay, again, it's not the first time that I've done it. This is what I'm month 8. So I've done each of these posts now 8 times. So now it's a little bit more free with it instead of like, it should be done at 8 a.m. in the morning. So everyone sees it because that's going to make me millions. Like it's not that. It was last night. I'm tired of this. The picture I had was just too opaque and I needed a more high contrast image. It's black and white to black and white. It wasn't that big of a difference, but I felt like it was. So I changed it and then there it was, and it was not done at prime time or peak time or because it was the first Monday. It was, I fucking was tired of looking at my face.
So I'm actually, I've actually written about that several times about like on Instagram, like your best engagement posts are pictures of yourself. And like every other one, I'm like, I am tired of looking at myself. I can't imagine people aren't too. Like,
I know. Yeah. I'm like worried about my Instagram grid because there's too many me's on it. I'm like, we need more, but then.
But they're the ones that get the most engagement. Anyway, two things that I kind of thought of while you were talking about that. One, I am a write from inspiration girl. And like, while I might work with clients on a content calendar for them, for myself, I only write when I'm inspired to write posts because it's not my main marketing tool. So I'm just like, I'm there because if somebody were to go look for me, they can actually see some stuff, but I tend to write just when I'm inspired. And so I don't really plan it all out. So
no, I teach all my
it's okay.
clients. I teach them 2 ways. I say there's the structured approach and there's the inspired approach. And the structured, I tell them about like daily themes and scheduling posts and outlining and batching and doing all the bullshit. Now you need it though. Like I will say, you need to know, like, it's almost like in swimming when we do like tech days where like you're learning the techniques, but eventually you kind of like mold that in. You need to know the base structure and technique. But then once you're more evolved, I definitely recommend you go into inspired posting and, you know, keep a consistency for yourself. Like, okay, 3 times a week, I know I can do that inspired, fine, but you want to keep the consistency of it. I know I struggle with this when I am in my inspired posting, like season and reason. Sometimes I hibernate and I'm just like, have all these great ideas, but I forgot to post about it or whatever.
Or get busy. Like last week I was busy. I didn't post at all.
Oh my God. Yeah. Same. Yeah.
But I also wanted to mention too, and I know we're coming up on our time, but about photos and talking about photos and putting your, like basically your bio in the photo in Facebook, but also in people's websites. This happens all the time. They give me photos and the photos are called IMG_4567, right? And then like that's all they're called, like file name is called that. And so Google loves photos and they love photos that have words in their file names. And so if you think about it, when you're on Google and you're searching, you know that when you get your results, photos are kind of there at the top. So photos are really great for SEO. So you should always file name your photos with keywords, your name, what you do, like keywords, and you can describe the photo too, but nobody is going to Google and searching for IMG_4567.
Amen. Yeah.
Right. Really so if you can at least change the file name to Ronnie Bartles Marketing Expert.
Yeah.
I'd really appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great tip. Again, one of those best practices, but
tip, always change your file names or your photos.
Yeah, I know. I got caught in that. I didn't do that this last time. And it's on this new program page. And it actually, the first time I didn't do it because I sent it back right the second time. Yeah, I put like image 1, image 2, image 3 to my website developer. And I was like, pull that back. It says iconic authority. It says persona collective and, you know, whatever the third one is that I can't think of. Anyhow.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's a great pro tip. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, top of the hour. I can't believe it. We are actually going to end at an hour time, which I don't know what we should be doing, but we've spoken for an hour. I feel good. Do you feel good?
I think we had it. I think for coming into this with little direction on what we might be talking about.
We had direction. We talked about dick funnels, perfectionism, and PR. It was amazing.
Yep.
Again, friendly reminder for everybody. We are live on Thursdays for you, or replay whenever you need. You can find us either at Ronnie's YouTube channel, on my website, iconicdetails.com. And for the replays, we have all of the episodes. I think today is episode 16, which I'm very excited about. And I can't believe we've done 16 of these so far. That's exciting.
Oh.
I don't know where we're going with this. I don't know what this will be, but I love it. And I think they're going to be great resources in the future where we can be like, hey, you need this one, you need that one, go see this one. I think it's good. Today, as we said, we covered the perfectionism, the PR, the dick funnels. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, we are here to serve you. If you have questions, you have ideas, we have one in the hopper right now that we're going to wait for our bestie to get back and help us with. If you want to be in a hot seat and come on and literally have us do audits for you, strategy sessions with you, whatever, your questions help everybody else. So no, it's not a hot seat to like, there were all the words that I didn't have. There you go. And it's just to support you in any way that we can. So I think that's it. But we'll see you next Thursday unless there's anything I missed.
Nope. I think we covered it.
All right. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.